creek. Walk 'em up and down in the summer heat. Same old boy changing like the seasons. Country kid turning to a town right heathen. Country kid turning to a town right heathen.
Hey everybody, we're back here in the Old Man Van Cave, the Old Man Van Castle. It's been a while since I've done a shoe review, and guess what came in the mail just the other day? Here we have it. We have another package, and this package is from where? You know where it's from? It's from Roadrunner Sports, which you know, Old Man Van, that's his favorite online shoe retailer. So let's take a look. Let's do the honors, the unboxing. So let's see here. So here we have, oh, it's a New Balance box. New Balance box. So let's get that out of there. Let's see how this works. You know, working with one hand is always tough, but let's get it out. Okay, here we have it. Now, what's in this New Balance box? Well, let's see here. New Balance Fresh Foam Vongo V6, 11.5. Which is my size in a regular size D or medium width. So let's take a look at this. Now, Roadrunner Sports only had one color, so let's see what we got. Typical Roadrunner Sports, right? I got their like paraphernalia there, their paperwork, and a thank you card. Wow, we'll have to take a look at what's in that in a bit. Whoa, here we have it. Now, I'm not big on the black colorways, especially with a black sole, but here we have a nice white midsole with a black upper. That's really nice. I like that gray New Balance logo. There is the outsole there. Pretty cool. The Fresh Foam X right there. What's interesting here, and we'll get into that in my first impressions review after I have a chance to run in it, is they actually have a plate. So they've updated the Vongo series. They've updated the upper. We'll get into that. And they have this plate that's in there. What that plate does, I know it's not carbon fiber, but we'll get into what that actually does and whether that makes this a, you know, more responsive shoe. Pretty nice looking shoe. I actually like this black. It's not too bad, especially with the white midsole. So pretty nice. Okay. We're out here, first run in the all-new Vongo V6s. So I'm just gonna do a nice, easy recovery run today, 3 miles since I did my long run yesterday. These are significantly different. We'll see how they feel. The upper's been reimagined. Stack height is different, the drop is different. There's actually this EVA film, which is really like a plate, sandwiched in that midsole. The stability features are different. It's less of a moderate to max stability shoe. We'll see how it goes. I don't feel something like a medial post that was in the previous version, so that's really good. It seems to be less intrusive, although I like the Vongo V5, but just less noticeable stability. It's pretty apparent that the wide base is also part of the stability in this shoe. The upper feels very comfortable, kind of unnoticeable. I thought at first that when I put them on that it might be a little too snug, but the upper material is very soft and compliant. It seems to be molding around my foot, kind of a sock-like feel, so that's pretty good. As far as, you know, cushioning, feels similar to the V5. I think, again, in the V5, you kind of have that medial post there. That's not in the shoe. Therefore, I think it feels a little more cushion than the V5. January? Yeah, 6th of January, 2024. And I'm out here to do my second run in the New Balance Vongo V6s. So let's get out there. This is just going to be a 4-mile run this morning. It's Saturday. I'm in my cutback week. I'm going to do 8 miles tomorrow. My knee was a little balky yesterday after a run on the treadmill, so we're going to see how it feels. Hopefully it's going to hold up and I'm not going to have any issues. It doesn't feel like a meniscus or anything like that, so let's get out there. I said on that first run, I felt the V6s were a little more cushioned. They have that plate, but it's a layer there in the middle there. Creates the stability versus a medial post. They do feel more cushioned, and I'm gonna tell you, they do feel a little more responsive. And they also feel lighter than their weight. Really impressive so far. Man, I picked up the pace into the mid-8s, and it felt pretty effortless to do so. They got a little more bounce than the Vongo V5s. They got kind of a feel like the Brooks Glycerin GTS 20. The lower drop, I think, also helps. So far, I really enjoy this shoe. I mean, it's only 2 runs in, but it feels pretty good. So a great Saturday run before my longest run in my first cutback week for Boston Marathon Training 2024. So, as you know, I'm back to 100% after my hemorrhoidectomy surgery back after the New York City Marathon. So, really happy to be back in training, on track now. Going to be going into my strength phase starting this week. 42 to 45 miles per week with long runs 12 to 13 miles. So now back to the Vongo V6s. I really like them after these 2 runs. Now, I haven't done a long run in them, so that remains to be seen, but I don't feel the upper at all. It is so soft and moldable to my foot. It feels real great. Stark contrast to the uppers in the Asics shoes like the Gel Kayano 30 and the Gel Kayano 29. Also, the sock liner in the Vongo V6 is very soft. I don't feel any hot spots whatsoever. Really soft compared to the Asics shoes. So this upper and sock liner after 2 runs feels as good as any pair of shoes I've ever put on my feet. And again, the stability features are not intrusive, no more medial post, just really, you know, wide base, and it's got that kind of plate in the middle there that gives you stability. Just really comfortable, really like it. Plenty of cushioning, more so than the Vongo V5, more responsive than the Vongo V5 with more of a Glycerin GTS 20 midsole feel.
Hey everybody, Happy New Year! Welcome back to Old Man Van Running. Here again in the Old Man Van Cave, the Old Man Van Castle. Old Man Van is 100% recovered from his surgery back in November, back into Boston Marathon training for 2024, and really excited about giving you my first impression shoe review of the new year. So today, I'm going to give you my first impressions review of the all new, and I mean all new because it's a major update to the series, the all new Vongo V6 from New Balance. I'm going to tell you, I was really excited about this update. I like the Vongo V5. It's been a very good trainer for me, a very good stability trainer. It's nice and stable. It's got some cushioning there, just not overly cushioned, a little bit firm, but I do like it. But I was really excited when I heard that New Balance was changing up their take on stability features and getting rid of the medial post in the Vongo V6. So going back to the V5, in the V5, you see right here, you got this very firm midsole material, and that really basically is a medial post for all intents and purposes. And you can really tell when you come down and strike the ground, you can feel that material right there. It's not soft, pillowy soft when you hit the ground, so you really notice it, so you don't get as much cushion as you really hope to get. Once you get towards the forefoot, you do get into that fresh foam X, and it is much softer. In the V6, that's changed. But before we get into that, let's quickly go over the numbers. You can pick up the New Balance Vongo V6 for $165 US or $164.99. But, you know, that's right there in the middle of typical daily stability trainers these days. So it's not overpriced, it's not underpriced, it's kind of right there. You know, would I like it to be a little less expensive? Sure. You know, they're pretty pricey these days, but it's consistent with the other mainstream stability daily trainers out there. On the weight front, weight has increased in the Vongo V6. It's gone up about an ounce to 10.7 ounces in a men's size 9 or 303 grams. And you know, that's a significant increase. However, as you'll hear in my first impressions review, that extra ounce doesn't feel like an extra ounce. Now, not to forget the ladies out there, this shoe is 8.5 ounces in a women's size 8, which equates to 241 grams. The Vongo V6 has also changed the stack height from the previous version. Now you have 38 millimeters in the rear foot, so you're getting pretty close to that max stack height, and you have 32 millimeters in the forefoot. So what that means is the heel to toe drop has actually come down from 8 millimeters in the Vongo V5 to 6 millimeters in the V6. Now, for a stability runner out there, or any runner that wears, typically a Brooks shoe that's 10 millimeters or 12 millimeters, that's a significant change, right? The 6 millimeters in the Vongo V6 is similar to shoes, say, in the Hoka line. Now, that can be tough to adapt to if you're used to a much higher heel-to-toe drop, but as in the Hokas, you don't really feel it that much. I didn't feel a big difference from the Vongo V5. It felt really good and natural in the 6 millimeters. So I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that you've got a significant amount of midsole foam underfoot. So when you do heel strike, you're getting some support there. You're not getting undue strain on your Achilles or your calf. So with the numbers out of the way, let's get into construction. We'll get right into the upper, which includes the sock liner, heel counter, tongue, laces, all that good stuff. As you know, some recent reviews, Gel K 030 from Asics. I had some issues in that shoe, and I've had some issues in other Asics shoes with the uppers and the sock liners giving me hot spots and in some cases blisters. I've noticed in those shoes and in that brand that the uppers tend to be, even if flexible, a little bit abrasive feeling, right? There's a little bit of stiffness there that just doesn't feel natural and comfortable and moldable around my feet. Well, the Vongo V5 felt a lot better, more of a stretchy upper. But that upper also just wasn't the greatest upper, but it was a big improvement from the Asics shoes that I was wearing. Well, I'm going to tell you, the Vongo V6, for me, has knocked it out of the park. This upper, the synthetic engineered mesh upper, is so far, after 2 runs, the most comfortable upper I've ever put on my feet. I don't even notice it's there. I looked at this shoe and said, man, it's very narrow. It's going to be too snug. I'm going to have a problem right there with my little toe. I'm going to feel pressure, maybe get a hot spot. Not at all. I don't even feel it when it's on my feet. I feel no pressure on any toe. I feel no rubbing whatsoever on any toe. It's flexible. It's soft. The overlays or underlays or reinforcement in the toe box is more kind of knitted into it versus some kind of overlay that's glued on or built up in there. It's very, very comfortable in here. I had no rubbing whatsoever. It molded to my feet. So far, after 2 runs, I'm blown away by how comfortable it is. That being said, it's January. I've only run in this shoe in January, so it remains to be seen once the weather warms up if my feet get too hot in the shoe or if it's not breathable enough. As we move on with this upper, there are some overlays, but as I said, these overlays are kind of woven, so they're not like glued on or anything like that. They're woven on, so they still feel comfortable and soft against the foot. No issues there. It does give a little bit of structure in the midfoot. The midfoot appeared that it was going to be a little too narrow, but I don't feel that at all. I wear an 11.5 medium width D and no issues whatsoever. Felt very comfortable. I also didn't feel like there was anything sticking up under my arch. I do like to have some arch there. I do overpronate and have some flat feet, but I didn't feel like there was a lump under there. Really good feel. A lot of that I think has to do as well with the sock liner. The sock liner is very, very comfortable. I didn't notice it, again, with thin socks, thick socks, didn't notice it whatsoever. Just a great, great feel. Forefoot, true to size. Midfoot, true to size. Sock liner, very comfortable. How'd it feel towards the back of the shoe? Well, you got a nice padding. Ankle, collar, heel collar. Not a big flare like some of the other shoes, but plenty of padding there. Very, very comfortable. That along with this tongue, which is well padded. I don't know if you can see it there. Here's the tongue, nice and well padded tongue there. Not overly padded, but enough padding throughout that tongue. Again, I don't know if it's breathable and going to be too hot when the weather gets warmer, but in the cold weather, very, very comfortable. The laces, very, very flat laces, not stretchy at all. Again, exactly what Old Man Van likes. And I didn't have undue pressure on the top of my foot. Got a real good lockdown without having to go to the final outlet here and do a runner's lacing or marathon lacing. Now, the heel counter is also nice and firm, like you typically see in a daily trainer and a stability daily trainer, but not overdone, no heel rub, really good lockdown. So throughout the upper, this shoe just felt fantastic to me. All I noticed when I was running is what we're going to talk about next, which is that midsole and the feel of that midsole. Now to the midsole. Fresh Foam X. A lot of Fresh Foam X there. Nice big slab throughout this shoe. Really, really like the cushioning in there. Very soft. Very soft. But what's great, it's very soft, but it also has some spring to it. It also has some bounce to it, which is kind of like, well, if it's too soft, it's not going to bounce too much. Well, that does. I never felt this midsole bottoming out. This line you see here. They call it an EVA film, which is basically an EVA plate or a plastic plate that goes the length of the shoe. Now, on the lateral side, you see it's lower, right? But as you turn around and you move around, it raises up in the heel area. And as you see on the medial side, it's much higher under the arch and under the rear foot there. What that's for is for the stability instead of that medial post. And we'll talk about that in a minute. But basically what you have is you have a double layer of Fresh Foam X in this shoe. And that gives you a real nice cushioning. Instead of having on this medial side, a big medial post here, which is very hard, you've got Fresh Foam X, and just this plate. So you get much more cushion touchdown when you're heel striking. And then it's very comfortable all the way through the forefoot, which has a thicker layer of Fresh Foam X than the Vongo V5. So feel-wise in this midsole, the closest thing in my experience to the feel of this midsole is that in the Glycerin GTS 20. It has a really good amount of softness to it, but it does have some spring, it does have some bounce. This is not a speed day shoe, definitely not a speed day shoe, but it is a shoe that you can pick up the pace a bit if you so desire. And as I mentioned, feels much lighter on the foot than the 10.7 ounces in a men's size 9 would lead you to believe. Now to the outsole. Strategically placed blown rubber. Now it's not all that thick. I don't know if you could see that. Not all that thick. And it's nice and tacky. On dry pavement, it's really, really grippy, but it's a little bit soft. I'm not sure how it handles in the wet because I haven't had a chance to run in the wet yet, but it has a feel to the touch here, similar to that in the Hoka shoes. Now, the concern I have there is if it's too soft that it may not wear as well as some of the other shoes. Jury's still out on that. As I put more miles in the shoe and I get to the 100-mile update, we will dive in a little bit deeper on outsole wear. Nice wide base, as you can see. You can see how it flares out. The midsole and the outsole flares out in the forefoot. It's pretty wide in the back, not overly done, but it's typical stability type shoe. It's not too narrow in the midfoot. Real nice wide base here. Getting onto stability, that's one of the elements that helps with the stability in the shoe. The other element, as I mentioned, is this EVA film or EVA plate that's lower on the lateral side, rises up on the medial side. So basically what it's doing is when you heel strike, it's lower on the outside, right, on the lateral side, but as you start to roll towards the medial side, that plate being much higher up on the shoe prevents you from overpronating or rolling in too much. But it's not forcing you like a medial post will. It just guides you and keeps you from overpronating as you roll through. There's a little bit of a rocker here, so you get a very nice smooth transition. Never do you feel forced to stop you from rolling in. I never once felt like I was overpronating. I never once felt like I didn't have any stability there. And typically, I've worn moderate to max stability shoes. I'm finding I like this more guidance type of stability, this less or milder stability, and I just really liked it. Comfort. As soon as I step into this shoe, I forget about the upper, I forget about the sock liner, I forget about the laces, I get a great lockdown. All I think about and all I notice is the great cushioning from that midsole, the great responsiveness from that midsole. That's all I notice, and that's perfect, right? That's perfect. So all in all, one of my best first impression reviews. So that brings me to my thoughts and rating on the Vongo V6 from New Balance. New Balance knocked this update out of the park in my estimation. After only 2 runs, I'm extremely excited to get this shoe on my feet and put many more miles in it. I think the change in the stability features from a medial post to this EVA film plate is so much better and allows that Fresh Foam X midsole to provide that really soft landing that most stability shoes with medial posts don't have. I think they're getting very close to that sweet spot for stability and guidance related shoes. It's just very, very comfortable, plenty of cushioning, but it doesn't bottom out, and it does have some bounce, but it doesn't compromise on stability. So I think this is the perfect shoe for a neutral runner who wants to have something that has a little bit of stability for, when they're tired of those longer runs, all the way up to a moderate stability runner, I think, can wear this shoe with no issues, and it will do the job. Now, from a rating standpoint, I know you're going to say, Old Man Van's going to give another 9.5. Well, guess what? I am going to give the Vongo V6 a 9.5 on first impressions. Obviously, if that outsole doesn't hold up, that score is going to come down, right? If it becomes too hot when the weather warms up, that score could come down. However, the reason why I give 9.5s, or I give a lot of shoes over 9, is that shoes these days, the technology is so good. It's so much better than when I was younger. Most shoes out there that are over $100 that are from mainstream shoe companies are good shoes. They're not going to work for every runner, but they're excellent, excellent shoes. 9.0 is a good place to start. There are a few shoes that fall under 9, and those are shoes I really have a big issue with. But beyond that, I think every shoe, every modern shoe that's from a good company and that's over $100 should start at a 9.0. That's just my personal feelings. For a stability daily trainer that's up close to 11 ounces, this shoe, doesn't feel that way, has great cushioning, and has responsiveness that, kind of surprised me. So for that reason, I think this is the perfect option for those long, long marathon training miles. So coming up on Old Man Van Running, I've got that first impressions review of the updated Glycerin GTS 21 from Brooks. I do expect to get that shoe probably around February 10th or so. And as soon as I get a few runs in it, I will put together a first impressions review there. Also stay tuned for a review on the Runner's Box, a subscription service where every couple of months you get a box that's got all sorts of different goodies in it for runners, whether it's nutrition, whether it's some other runner related stuff. I'm going to take a look at what's in there. I've got a year subscription for my kids. I'm going to do a review on that. I'll show you what's in it. I'll show you what I think about it, what the variety of things are, and so stay tuned for that. Also coming up, Old Man Van's back at Boston Marathon training, right? I need to do a training vlog, right? I need to get that going. I need to go over my training plan, show you what I'm doing differently from the New York City Marathon plan. So I'll work on that video and get that out pretty soon and start doing a regular vlog on my training and preparation for Boston. Along with that, I am running the New York City Half Marathon again in March, and I will be doing a race video on that. I'm using that race as a warm-up race for Boston. It's about a month out, a month before. So looking forward to that, so stay tuned as well. So thanks for watching this video. If you liked it, please hit the thumbs up button. If you haven't subscribed already, please hit the subscribe button and that notification bell so you'll get notified when more videos are posted. Comments, any and all comments always do help my channel. And as always, if you have some friends, running pals, running buddies that you think might enjoy Old Man Van Running, please let them know. So thanks again, everybody, for your patience as I recovered from surgery. Hope everyone had a wonderful, wonderful holiday season, and I wish everyone nothing but success for their running goals or life goals in 2024. So as always, I leave you with, lace up those shoes, and let's get out on the roads.
Railroad tracks run along the creek, walk walk 'em up and down in the summer heat. Same old boy changing like the seasons. Country kid turning to a town right heathen.